the interface is pretty easy to work with, certainly, and certainly having the app is a good thing. And the fact that it generates a pretty significant number of influx of clients for us. I mean, those are really the things that I was looking for. It's definitely worth it, right? It's a good service. Our intent right now is to continue our contract after our initial 3 years is up. It's definitely bringing in business and has a pretty decent return on investment. So, it's from a business perspective. I mean, it's definitely it's a good service to get into. Really giving you full potential clients. It's ultimately about client intake, in order to drive the business forward and to ultimately drive future revenue. You have to be signing up clients today to really be having any prospect of revenue down the road. So, having a process in place like that where, you can have these potentials funneled in that can then be converted in hopefully the most efficient manner possible, certainly I think is useful to any business. I mean, for an attorney, that's critical though, is an influx of new clients. Well, I'm happy that we can get a fair amount of clients in to cycle through the potentials to a reasonable level of incoming actual clients. Since we put a process in place in order to handle the legal match inputs, our experience with the service, even though it was good before, it's dramatically improved since then. Initially, I was doing this on my own, and I would call clients as they came in. But since I've actually got an assistant, the assistant calls the clients, she books them on the calendar, she puts them, she calls the clients in a timely fashion, but then she books them into a consult slot. We get all those consult slots kind of back to back, so they minimize the amount of our time that they take to do the consults, and then we're able to process those in a much more efficient manner. And it's quite honestly given us a better conversion rate, by having the assistant call them and set these consults up as opposed to me calling them directly. Well, it certainly increased our case volume quite a bit. We're typically probably getting between 3 and 6 cases per month. Well, you have to market somehow, right? I mean, you can find out, for that top spot on Google, which is probably going to take you years to get. You can kind of try the random Facebook ads. A lot of those though require your own input, your own advertising. Direct mail is a killer, right? It costs you an arm and a leg for, basically trying to compete in that space is hard. But, ultimately Legal Match kind of takes a lot of the marketing problems away from you and delivers leads to you, right? Which can be valuable for any attorney as long as you can convert those leads. You have an opportunity here to be put face to face with a lot of potential clients to sell your services to. And at the same time, you're perhaps given a little bit of an opportunity to at least give these people, if not some substantive legal advice, at least a little bit of guidance, which direction they can go if they can't afford your services. And, all of that in the end will help you build your brand. And perhaps get you a client down the road through a referral from those people or otherwise. But it's definitely, it's definitely worth doing. Well, I would, for the price that we pay, it returns a good investment. We get a process in place to deal with the Legal Match influx of clients, right? Preferably get somebody other than yourself to schedule the consults. Get them all scheduled back to back on days that you have time set aside to do them, to minimize the impact on your day as you're doing them. And don't brush off people simply because you think that they're not going to be a paying client, right? Give them a little bit of guidance if you can help them out. Take the time to listen to their issues. Sometimes they just need to talk to somebody and need a little bit of quick advice to get them set on on a good path, even if they're not going to pay you. But then, of course, explain to them the benefits of hiring you, and try to convert them wherever you can. The templates can certainly be very handy, and along with the phone app, it makes it very quick and easy to respond to any given posting that pops up on your phone in a timely manner to get your name out there in front of people. Business for me has been increasing during the pandemic. I mean, there was certainly a period there, especially around mid-March, where there's really kind of a fall off where people were confused. But we've been doing okay. I mean, our business has continued to increase during the pandemic generally. A little bit of a sputter here and there, but we've definitely seen an increase in our caseload consistently despite the pandemic. So, and it's kind of coming from different areas too, certainly the family law. We're generating 3 to 6 cases a month, and these cases can generally range between $2,500 on the low end and probably $10,000